Hello everyone. We got a 3 versus 3 on this map. Definitely an underrated map that I want to play more often. And we're gonna do some fun things with this. But yeah, we got 282nd Airborne, yours truly, and Mr. Loki. And we have Beats as the 3rd Armored. Beats is also a patron, so we're doing some patron games and some regular games in one. And speaking of, if you do want to support the channel, becoming a patron is one of the ways you can do that. By, you know, with even $1 a month, you can supply me with some coffee beans that keeps this kind of content flowing. That said, let's get to it. We're just going to go into my POV real quick. I'm tasked with taking the right side. I've always wanted to kind of do a fight here. As I said, we're going to repeat this battle. Just to, you know, see if this strategy still holds in different games. But what we're basically doing is getting a Toe 2 here, Airborne with the Dragons, we're getting LRS, and we're having regular Airborne and Airborne Engineers going all over this place. That's gonna do, we're gonna see how that goes, and we have an OH-58C. Now if we go to Mr. Loki's POV, he's going mainly to the left, okay? So he has some Airborne, these are Scouts, he has 50 cal squads, and regular Airborne squads, they're going left. So 250s, 2 Airbornes, and a Recon, really interesting combo. And over here we have 250s, an Airborne Dragon, and a Command going to the middle. Really interesting to see. Last but not least, we have Mr. Beats going to the left with a Sniper team and a Scout. Basically the hold, it seems. He also has some Dragon teams and an M1A1. He's bringing a Chaparral, another Scout, and a Sniper team to the middle left there to help. On the right side, he's bringing AA. He has Stinger teams, 2 Chaparrals, a PVAD, and some supplies. And on the right side, we have a Command Heli that he's going to try something interesting with and try to land them over there. And besides that, also an Apache. And that Apache is going to go to the flank and possibly support. So that is basically the idea there. We have another aggressive push happening here. We have Chinooks with arrow rifles landing behind enemy lines. Usually the line of contact is here. We're going to be seeing our units land way behind them. So we're going to keep this on neutral mode for the time being. We're playing against the 79 KDA and 35th Airborne. And Mr. Kukanagi is already starting with a Napalm rocket launcher, the BM-21 Napalm variant. Really powerful, insane aiming time as well. Actually, it's only 20 seconds. But still, that's a pretty good aiming time. And that napalm is going to do some damage. And even if it doesn't really do too much damage, it will stop the push. So Loki's unloading a little bit earlier, getting his sniper teams and dragon teams into the first building instead of going all the way up there. We're not going to be meeting stiff resistance now, or in the beginning, but we'll see how that goes. So we have Chinooks flying over, we have an Apache flying over. As you can see, pretty much all the units from Mr. Diplodok are just going to the area where usually you see activity, which is all the way back here. BMD2s and Screjets doing really good against that Apache, actually stunning it quite a bit. But the air rifles have made it. The man-pads are not unloading for some reason. And we have 2 Eagles from me going after the Mi-24, and then we're going for the MiG-23, and we actually take that out as well. On the right side, we have our Dragon teams and LRS, and they're doing pretty good just to hold out on this open field. And we have Airborne Engineers and LRS holding on the flanks, and we also have a lot of supplies and anti-air going all over the place. Now over here, that napalm definitely did hurt Loki's push. He hasn't been able to push up to this road here to hold one of these important buildings, and that is going to definitely be a little bit of an issue. Meanwhile on the left though, the Airborne, the Flash, and I said 50s, but those are actually grenade launchers. They're doing an insane amount of damage on these guys. Look at that. That is awesome. I need to definitely use those more often. There we go. That command has landed in that zone, and we have another command that landed on the back right zone, and that is going to be 2 full caps, or even just a tiny amount, especially here, because there's a command like right here that is going to be able to move back. That is still going to hurt quite a bit. Now meanwhile over here, Beats is basically all over the place. If we go into his point of view, he is on the left, he's on the right side, and he's on the far right side with his Apaches and scouts and stuff. So he's playing a kind of a supportive role. Going into neutral mode, I was tasked with having Eagles. They are unfortunately on a reload right now. But we have a lot of other types of anti-air, and the OH-58Cs usually are able to fire at it, but that plane was a little bit too high for these guys to aim at. But yeah, what a good push here with a couple of arrow rifles. Even though this is not the strongest group of units to have here, it is going to block the enemy team from getting through here, and that is exactly what that should serve as. So you should not, you know, aim to win the battle with whatever you're doing, but make it a problem for the enemy, basically. Now, if we are in neutral mode and there's absolutely nothing on the left, which is quite surprising, but a couple of units are being spawned in. So we have a Conquerors coming in, T-64 and an Mi-2 for recon, and we have a couple of Resvetka teams continuing the push over here. A Wild Weasel by Mr. Beats going in. Afghanzi is non-radar, so that is not going to be able to be targeted, and the seaplane does take some damage. But now the main fight is on the right side. We have our airborne and airborne engineers moving in. The BM-21 Grad is hitting slightly behind us. He's now getting retrained to fire on top of our airborne, so that might be a problem. And we're moving the LRS and the airborne Dragon teams up forward as well. So the Spetsnaz GRU, not a problem whatsoever for all of our airborne units, so that is quite nice. And we're doing pretty good here with our infantry push. Now going back to the left, this is still not capped. Kuganagi is now getting a commando. They either did not really have the points to spend on it, or they simply didn't want to. And over here what happened was I called in an A-10 with rockets, and we blasted the entire building that had like 3 full squads in it. So with that, Beats and Loki are able to now push through. Mi-24, the AA variant, is clapping OH-58C cheeks. Mainly because these guys are out of ammunition, but Loki's Eagle takes care of that. Apache rocket over here has a nice line of sight on all the Spetsnaz, and that is now doing some pretty good damage. But yeah, the airborne are doing pretty good. I am playing it quite safe. I'm getting good reinforcements. We're moving up the LRS so that we can get some line of sight. We have 2 M1IP Abrams. You know, we have a lot of anti-air here as well. Look at that. My double Eagles coming in. There goes one plane. And even though we don't hit it with the Sidewinders, the gun is going to do plenty of damage. And we take that out, no problem. Yeah, the OH-58C got instantly clapped by Strelas and Iglas. And we're about to meet quite a lot of enemy units, but we're taking it nice and slow here. So we have our airborne Dragon team here that is now firing an ATGM at, I believe it was that truck probably, which is really not a high priority target, but still. But now we're getting some TOW2s so that we can deal with any of these tanks if we need to. Now meanwhile on the left, Beats has noticed that there really isn't much over here, so he's pushing up, and that is forcing Kuganagi to leave the game. Big push here by Loki, moving in with some airborne and flash. Actually, Kuganagi is... was that the one on the right side? It was the one on the right side. But they're also kind of mixed up, so this is definitely not the easiest game in terms of determining where everyone is. Everyone kind of just mixed their units up. But this is still being a really big issue. I think Loki is doing good in terms of not revealing too much of these units. So he's not being too aggressive with the air rifles. They're just, you know, going in for defense. It's a really interesting strategy to see, and I do want to see that more often, to be honest. So airborne Dragons, M1IPs going in. Definitely want to take care of that anti-tank gun that is going to do quite a bit of damage. And now we have our Humvee TOW2s here as well. Oh man, those Humvee toes, when they hit, they really ruin your day. Now we have two F-111s coming in with napalm out of anything. And surprisingly, napalm is actually really, really good. I might be tempted to use napalm more often because that just destroyed that BMP2 as well with literally the fire damage. The amount of artillery we have is also definitely helping out. At this point we call in some heavy hogs or a high intensity rocket barrage if we get the means to do so. And we have some crossfire by the amazing PVAD wherever that guy is hiding. The Vulcan, excuse me. Man, this is definitely a painful fight today for Red Team. Heavy hogs, they're just nasty to be up against. And that definitely sealed the fate on the right side. Now, definitely not the most, nail-biter game, but I just wanted to show you guys this one in particularly, just to give you an idea of how you can play the game a bit differently in order to create a big problem for the enemy. So, just moving a couple units to a flank or somewhere where, enemies will go through, such ambush positions, with just 1 or 2 units can really be a huge problem for them, because it's going to stop their entire push. People have a kind of a panic response whenever they notice that there's units in their flank, and it stops their entire, thought process, and everything just is focused on that. But yeah, pretty fun game, definitely. Again, not the most nail-biter, but a fun one. Airborne Dragons, together with Airborne, really awesome combo, especially if you throw in some LRS and maybe some TOW2s. We really didn't lose that much. The Humvee TOW2s were probably most of the points there. But I really hope that you guys still enjoyed this kind of rather short battle. But low-key and beats, I really do want to do another one of these and see if we can kind of have a bit more, a bit more of a nail-biter game with a similar strategy and see how that turns out. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys back in the next one. Take care.